Welcome to Harder Than It Looks, Parking Uncovered, a podcast that illuminates real solutions to common problems within the parking industry. I'm your host, Brian Wolff, CEO of Parker Technology, and in each episode, I'll introduce you to real parking pros that will bring their own tips, tricks, and best practices to manage what we all know is harder than it looks, parking a car.
This is Courtney Cooper, the producer of Harder Than It Looks, Parking Uncovered. This is a special episode recorded live in the expo hall at IPMI 2025 in Louisville, Kentucky. In this episode, you'll hear short clips from 9 different parking professionals as they talk about their experiences in their role and in the industry. When you hear this sound, that means a new parking professional has entered the hot seat. Thank you for listening.
My name is Tiffany Wells. I am the Deputy Director for the Bethlehem Parking Authority. We currently have Parker Technologies in all 3 of our garages and soon to be 4th garage.
Yay, awesome. We love that, and thanks so much for the partnership. So question for you. If you were to wave a magic wand, what would be the one thing you want to change in parking?
The change in parking in general?
Yeah.
I think for me it would be this stigma of having to park right in front of a business, and not taking advantage of garages. I feel like a lot of people are scared to park in garages.
Okay.
And I mean, myself, it took me some time to get used to parking in a garage, and now I get it. But you know, it's super easy to park in a garage, and we have helpful tools like Parker Technology to help people further if they have issues. So.
Yeah, no, awesome. So what do you think would be a solution that's better?
I guess it's better as far as parking in.
Yeah, and so what can we do to, make people less intimidating about parking in garages, you think? That's probably a hard question.
It's so hard. It's so hard because it's such a cultural change. And I think where we are, I think it's accepted in downtowns and in other cities.
Right.
Where we weren't really that built out for a long time in Bethlehem. So now that we are building out, I think it's just people are still in that old stigma of I'm going to park right in front of the business instead of, hey, now we're a growing city and we have a lot of people and we have a lot of needs for the curb space. It's probably more convenient to go to a parking garage.
Right.
So
yeah, and there's just way more parking options there. So
yeah.
Win-win.
Oh, absolutely. And it's usually cheaper and you can stay longer. It's easier to get in and out. You're not driving around constantly looking for a space. You just pull in the garage and it's easy.
Yeah, and then we'll handle all issues you have at the exit.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, and entry. You guys have been fantastic, and we have a hotel that we work with, and it's been super easy, to give you guys trips, and we've helped our customers and the hotel customers get through easily. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much, Tiffany, for taking time with us today.
So my name is Larry Cohen. I'm the Executive Director of the Lancaster, Pennsylvania Parking Authority.
That's exciting, Larry, and excited to have you back on the podcast because this is your second time on the show. But today I want to ask you a question. I want to know, how are you changing parking within the next few years? What is going to be your impact on parking?
Nothing like a softball question to start, Courtney. I mean, well, let me preface it by saying it's great to be here live in person with you at the greatest show in the world, at your studio on the convention center floor. This is really exciting and cool, right?
Yeah, I love it because we had you virtual last time, but I think this makes a huge difference.
Oh, I think this is great. So as I said, you gave me a softball question to start. What's going to change in the next several years in the industry?
How are you going to change the parking industry? And I know you have some things in the works that might illuminate the industry, but I'll leave it open to your interpretation.
Well, I think overall, I'm trying to be a sponge.
Yeah.
I'm an older professional. I've been around a while, so I got to keep up with you youngsters, And so I'm trying to be a sponge to everything that's happening, to learn from an AI perspective and from a frictionless perspective, which means hands-free. I think we've done a great job of eliminating cash handling So most of we're about 97% of our operation is a cashless
Oh, nice.
environment, which makes it amazing from a revenue integrity perspective and from hopefully a customer service perspective, like in the services you provide to, utilize technology, but also don't give up on the customer service aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's always a mission, and to provide more value to the customer in a frictionless environment. We've implemented license plate recognition in our garages already. So at least our permit holders or monthly permit holders can drive in and out hands-free. And even as a third tier city in Pennsylvania, we took note of what the younger generation needs from parking.
Mm-hmm.
And that was us implementing Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, all those different payment options. I was in the parking lane one day, and a student, we have a couple downtown college campuses, and the student says, "I don't have any money." We said, "Well, just use your credit card." "I don't have a credit card."
Mm-hmm.
"Use cash." "I don't have cash." "Use a check." "I don't have a check." "All I've got is," and he holds up his phone. So the aha moment was like, okay, we need to start serving the new generation.
Mm-hmm.
So we've implemented all that most recently as well.
That's amazing, especially because I remember when you were on our podcast, I think you had told me about when you had first started, and there was I want to say something to do with Legos. I remember you were telling me something to do with Legos.
Well, that was a theft issue.
Yeah, when you guys had first started. And I mean, now with Apple Pay and Tap to Pay, there's no more Lego issues happening.
No. It's such a win-win going as cashless as possible. It's, we used to have guys collecting coins on the streets every day. Now we have maybe once a month.
Yeah.
Used to have all the back office function with accounting. We used to have huge money coin counters, bill counter. We still have the bill counters with the pay stations, but just a lot less cash, a lot less theft. As long as the technology holds up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even the company like Parker's got to have a fail-safe. If we lose power, how is there backup generators? How are you still functioning? You never want to raise the gate and let everyone out for free.
Exactly. And I think we're lucky because we have multiple locations. So if our Las Vegas location goes down, we have our Indy location.
Yeah.
If our Indy location, we work out of a building that isn't ours. So if something happens to that building, what are we going to do? But I'm lucky we have all that backup. But
one of my favorite stories, someone posted on LinkedIn, literally in the last couple of weeks, that picture of this big storage tanker shed kind of thing in Lake Tahoe. And
is it the one in your book?
It
The one
is
that
the
has
one in my
all of
book.
those signs
Yes.
on it?
Someone posted it, and I love to tell them that story of you walk half a block and then there's Parker Technology in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
And you could, the dichotomy of the craziest pay station to your technology is great. And someone, had posted that picture.
Yeah.
I made mention of that story. So it's pretty cool.
So then the last question I want to leave this on is we might have talked about it a little bit on our podcast, but in your free time, when you're not parking cars, what are you doing? What are you up to? Any fun things in the works?
I'm pretty boring. I think parking a lot.
Parking a lot?
A lot. Too much.
You work a lot.
My wife's leave the parking at work. But no, when you're a kind of a CEO type position, it's inherent in what you do that you have to be thinking about work.
You're always on.
A lot.
Yeah.
Always on. But in the spare time, what do? I love going to sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an Philadelphia Eagles season ticket holder. I go to Philadelphia Phillies baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
I go to our local team. I like riding a bike to get a minimal amount of exercise to try to stay in a minimal amount of shape.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, right? Really? So
We got hecklers.
yeah, I always have hecklers. Hecklers are lovers, though. So
Yeah. Well, Larry, I thank you so much for coming back and joining us again. You're one of our I think we've only had one or two reoccurring guests on the show. So now you have an official title. Wow.
I'm on the two-timer club.
You are.
It's like a Saturday Night Live skit.
It is.
I should get some kind of jacket for a two-timer, and God knows if I'll ever be asked back for a third time. But I said it to you earlier, I'm not even a client, but you guys treat me like a client. And I think that's something that all vendors should pay attention to, that even though you're not a client today, you could be a client tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys you're professional, fantastic organization with great people, and your product is fantastic too. So I thank you for all of that.
No, we thank you because we love talking to you, and it brightens our day.
And this is so cool to have us here live, so thank
you.
So tell me your name, who you work for, and what you do for that company.
So Brian, my name is Haas Khalfan. I am the president, CEO of Signs and Decal in New York. We are a national signage wayfinding company that manufactures and installs signage throughout the country.
Wow. Okay, so all 50 states?
We haven't hit all 50 states. We're predominantly in the major cities.
Okay, and did you co-found this company, or did you find?
So Dad started the company in '71. It was a locally based company that we were just doing work around New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And then when I graduated college, I started to, take things to the next level and started going into Chicago, Boston, Baltimore, Maryland, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and so on.
Okay, and how long have you been at the helm?
I started in 2013.
Okay, all right. So 12
But I mean,
years.
every summer when I was growing up, I was always
You were
there.
in the business. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the questions we're asking everybody in the podcast is, if you had a magic wand and you could fix one thing in parking, what would it be?
If I had a magic wand and to fix one thing in parking. That's a loaded question.
It is a very loaded question.
It's a very loaded question.
Oh, I know what. Can I answer for you?
I wish there was more valet parkers in parking garages.
You wish there were more what?
I wish there were more valet parking at garages.
Oh, yeah. You know what?
Because sometimes you got to go in there and you got to find the car and find the spot, and then it's too far away to get to one place to the other place.
Yep.
I like to just drop it off, take the ticket, and run off.
Me too. You know what I think your wish should be? Your magic wand? That everyone would read signs.
Everyone would read signs.
They would read the parking signs.
Well, you know what it is, right? It's not. Sometimes the signs are also made wrong. Like,
yes.
They have the wrong messages on them.
Yes.
And coming from a signage fabricator, sometimes it's a joke. They're like, "Oh, Haas, you made all these signs to tell us where not to go or where to go." And the thing is that, I'm not the guy that puts the messages on the signs.
Oh, you're just producing the signs.
We manufacture and install at the end of the day. There are consultants. We have our own internal consultants, which is a service that we offer.
Yeah, for sure.
Because sometimes people don't know how to navigate through the space.
Yep. Yeah. I'll bet signage is kind of complicated.
Signage is complicated. There have been instances where we'll do an entire, you've heard of JFK Airport, John F. Kennedy Airport?
Yeah.
So we have done about 6 or 7 garages at JFK Airport.
Okay.
And even LaGuardia Airport as well.
Yep.
And when we were there and we were doing all of the wayfinding signage, they would tell us to make all the signs.
Yep.
And then after the signs are installed, the CEO of the Port Authority was like, "These signs all don't make any sense." So they had me rip down the signs and put new ones up again.
Wow. Okay.
So
That's good.
that it is a problem that needs to be solved.
That's great. Well, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks.
It's great
Brian.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And I'm sure we'll see you around.
My name is John Morgan.
Okay, and who are you with?
I'm with PMT Consulting,
Okay. What does PMT stand for?
Parking, Mobility, and Tech and Transportation
Okay.
Consulting.
Perfect. All right. So, John, I would love to know if you could wave your magic wand, what you would change in parking.
If I had the ability to take all the politics out of parking, it would help every single vendor, it would help every single authority, every single utility, every municipality if politics was taken out of parking.
Okay. Yeah. After what we were just talking about, I can understand why you say that. What do you see as the biggest technological advancement, trend? Like, what's the next big thing in parking that's going to disrupt or shake things up for the industry?
Well, I think there's going to be a much more integration between parking and mobility, the use of cameras. Unfortunately, the way AI is going, cameras have become very, very good. So not only does it read a license plate, but because of AI, it can tell you the color of the vehicle, what type of vehicle, year and model. Kind of scary. I know that in a city where I was the executive director, we had a big pushback from the mayor because he thought it was too much Big Brother watching us. In the long run, especially when it comes to enforcing loading zones, fire hydrants, things like that, where you can't have an enforcement person there all the time.
Yeah.
That technology is very powerful. And I think what has happened, especially in a lot of cities, they've become very lax on certain types of enforcement. When that happens, people tend to not follow the law. You know, law and order, the biggest part of our society is order. Without order, you're going to lose society. So when people think it's okay to park in front of a fire hydrant, and then there's a fire,
Yeah.
you know, they fill the loading zone, and then the people who are delivering packages have to double park, which hampers the flow of traffic.
Yeah.
All those things kind of back up on each other. And society the way it is, people are not taking order, especially in parking, seriously.
Yeah. No, that's I don't think I've ever heard anybody answer that question that way. So that's good. That's a unique perspective I think you have.
Well, and the law side of it, I mean, you know, when I went through the police academy, you know, we were taught the broken window theory. So the broken window theory says if there's a building, whether it's abandoned or not, and someone throws a stone and breaks a window, if you don't repair that window, next week someone else is going to throw a stone,
Yep.
and another window is going to be broken. And pretty soon all the windows are broken.
Yeah.
And it's a society, how it affects society.
Yeah.
Because now, instead of a building with windows, now it's a building with broken windows. And in your mind, it's a broken area. So it's run down. So parking is the same way. If you allow people to get away with parking infractions and you don't enforce it, other people are going to do the same thing. Well, that guy parked by a fire hydrant, that guy parked over a crosswalk. You know, it's unfortunate, especially in cities where there used to be industry. And I'm talking about not just 50 years ago, 75 years ago, where people lived in a 15-foot wide row house. It was a family. They might not even have a car.
Yeah.
But the breadwinner either walked to work, took the bus to work, or rode a bike to work. I mean, especially in the Rust Belt, if you will, people lived where they worked.
Yeah.
They didn't have cars. They couldn't afford cars. We didn't have the interstate highway system that Eisenhower, built in the 50s. So it wasn't so bad. Today, in that same 15-foot wide row house, they've developed it into 3-family house. Now it's 3 families living in it. When we did a survey on one street, there was as many as 7 vehicles registered to one 15-foot space. Now the average car in the United States is 15 feet. So now you multiply that by 7, and you do it in a row house situation, and the problem is there's not enough room for all those vehicles.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not how it was developed, when they were built. And it doesn't matter whether it's Allentown, Pennsylvania, or Hoboken, New Jersey.
Yep.
Row houses, same way, same problem. Overpopulation of vehicles.
Yes.
And it hasn't been addressed. And you have some municipalities that are looking for developers to come in, and because they want that, they'll give them a pass on providing parking and leave that up to the municipality. But the municipality is not addressing it immediately until it explodes into a situation where people are so mad because they come home from work and there's nowhere to park.
Yeah, I used to live in downtown Indianapolis, and same thing. It was street parking, and I hated it because you don't know if someone's going to drive by and hit your mirror off or whatever, break into your car. Yeah. So, okay. So my last question is, so how do you plan to make a positive impact on parking this year?
Well, in my consulting business, I'm working with municipalities to show them a better way of using technology. Unfortunately, small municipalities don't have the ability to send people to an IPMI or even a regional state association. They don't know what they don't know. And I say that not in a mean way. Police officer that I'm working with today, who's in charge of poor parking individuals. When I first got there, I showed him a couple of things on using technology that he already had, but he didn't know the depth of what was available. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot that municipality is going to be able to do when I'm done there. And they don't know what they don't know. They make decisions because of either something they read, someone told them something. In one situation, they decided that they were going to put in all credit card machines. No cash, no coin, just credit card. And when I did an analysis of existing transactions, 1/3 was pay by phone, 1/3 was credit card, but 1/3 was coin.
Oh, wow. That's a substantial percentage.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And when I brought that up to the administrator, I said, I think you're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Because what will happen to the 30+% that are using coin, maybe they don't have a credit card.
Yeah.
Of course, his response was, well, they could use the pay by phone. No, in order to have a pay by phone account, you need to have a credit card.
Right.
So if you don't have a credit card, neither one of those opportunities exists. Well, the credit card only situation stopped. I was able to save them from a big embarrassment, because what would happen is people would get tickets because they didn't have phones. They'd come to City Hall. There'd be a big explosion about people getting tickets. They haven't given me the opportunity to pay. I want to pay, but I can't.
Yeah.
So.
That's a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Okay, last question. This is a fun question.
Okay.
What do you love to do in your free time? When you're not parking cars, what do you like to do?
I'm born and raised in New Jersey, so I'm a Jersey Shore guy. I know almost every bit of the 122 miles of Jersey coastline. And back in the day when I was selling parking equipment, from Cape May all the way up to North Jersey, those municipalities had my equipment. So yeah, the Jersey Shore. spending time with the family at the Jersey Shore.
So going to the beach and
Yep.
Yeah.
Amusement, the boardwalk, the food.
I've never been. I'll have to add that. I know, right? I've never been to Jersey, I don't think, actually. No. There you go. I'll add it to my list.
Well,
East Coast. I've not. My husband's not been with me to like Boston or Maine, so I want to do like an East Coast tour eventually. So I'll have to
yeah,
let you know. I'm headed to the Jersey Shore.
let me know. I'd be happy to show you around.
Love it. All right. I think we're done. Thank you so much, John.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so my name's Corinne Zurcher, and I am a district manager with Pivot Parking.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for being with us today, Corinne. My first question is, if you could wave your magic wand, what is one thing you would fix in parking?
Ooh, let's see. That would be that there would be no more broken gate arms or cars running through them.
Okay, do you deal with that a lot?
So many times.
Wow. Okay, like the late night, I've had a few but too many drinks type
yeah.
crowd.
Oh, yeah. Especially in Wilmington, it's bars everywhere. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so my next question is, how are you positively impacting the industry this year?
So, Pivot's kind of new. We came out in COVID. It was 2020 when we came out. And I think we're still staying to our smaller niche and concentrating more on those coastal areas and just trying to be more customer service and not trying to be a big corporation where you have so many you can't handle it. So it's sometimes it's nicer to be smaller. So I think the fact that we're smaller and our name gets around so much, I think that's good for us. That's how we're kind of.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, last question. So what do you see as the biggest trend or technological advancement that is on the horizon for parking and how that's going to impact the industry?
I think drones. You've seen a lot of these AI stuff too that's coming out that's really brought in the spectrums here. But I think a lot of drones are going to be coming out.
Okay. Drones. How do you think that will affect parking?
Right now, if you go to some of these booths and everything else, you'll see the sensors and you'll see where they're trying to place them on a height and level. That way they can get a better view of everything. And I think drones in the air. I mean, even in Wilmington, it's even taken over our fireworks show. We have drone light shows.
Oh,
for
wow.
4th of July now. And,
Yeah.
Azalea Festival, all these other things that we have down there.
Super cool. I hadn't even thought about drones, so that's fascinating.
I saw them before, and my kids are into them too now. So I mean, we're a big drone family. It's
Nice.
pretty funny.
That's awesome. Okay, so last question. This is a fun question. Is what do you like to do in your free time?
Free time. Let's see. I'm a boy mom. I got 3 boys at home, so I would just have to be nothing. I don't like doing nothing in my spare time. I stay home with them. We're always out. We live in a beach environment, but we are not beach people. So, we're more outdoor, pool, and just stay in and barbecue. So I would do that every day.
That sounds great. Well, and is it like summer all year round where you are?
Summer
weather-wise?
rain, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
Although we did get snow for the first time this year.
Really?
Yeah, in like 7 years.
Oh, my gosh. And everybody was freaking out, probably.
Freaking
Nobody knows how to drive.
No one.
People in ditches.
Yep.
Yeah.
They use snowboards to go
Snowboard. That's awesome.
well, surfboards, actually.
Surfboards, yeah.
It goes sledding and everything else.
That's cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Corinne, for being on the podcast.
Thank you
Have a
for
great show.
having me.
James McDyre, the Pennsylvania State University.
Amazing. Okay. So if you could wave your magic wand and fix anything about parking, what would it be?
If I had a magic wand to fix anything about parking, I would definitely try to help the customers understand why we charge for parking and why we have to enforce parking so that it just doesn't become mayhem across the university. I think that explaining to them that it's not a centrally funded organization and it's not centrally funded, and how much money we spend every year on repairs to the parking lot our parking lots and decks are very nice, and we spend a lot of money maintaining them every year.
Mm-hmm.
So the millions of dollars go explaining why we spend millions of dollars to make them nice.
Exactly. And I mean, if you're in a city, you're not in Indianapolis, but if you were in a city like Indianapolis and there's potholes everywhere, and then someone's wondering like, okay, why am I paying for parking? Meanwhile, everything is taken care of. It's lit nicely. There's no trash anywhere. It's just so hard to to explain that to people. But it's a big problem. I wish we could all wave it and fix it too.
Magic wand would be fantastic.
It would be. Well, James, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
I'm Luke Anderson, and I work for Penn State University with parking operations.
Awesome. Okay, so Luke, could you please tell me how you are impacting parking within the next few years, or how you plan to?
So the next few years, I would say that we've gone a lot more with our mobile payment apps and stuff like that. We're really progressing with that on our campus, so we're trying to get to fully being cashless for all of our events and on campus, and also trying to streamline our parking operations. So I think that's the biggest changes that we're trying to make, at least on our campus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. That's what it is.
And I was talking to somebody earlier who, I mean, if you think about college kids and how tap to pay has become so prevalent and that's the expectation.
Absolutely.
They just carry their phone. I've heard that some kids don't carry credit cards. They don't carry cash. All they want is to use their phone.
You know, I don't think it's just kids anymore. Like, I don't even carry cash, so but tap to pay has been a truly a blessing, I'll be honest, especially at our exit lanes. So you don't have to put our credit cards in and talk about those. So we didn't have that till this prior year, such as Google Pay, et cetera, and Apple Pay. And it's pretty high usage, and it actually is extremely helpful in our industry. So I appreciate it. And I think a lot of the older population is starting to catch on too. So it's been really good. So.
Oh yeah. Once they realize how easy it makes things.
So we actually also have, so it's when you say about tap to pay, we also have we have IDs, so we can actually get in and out of our facilities as well.
Oh, that's
at
perfect.
our X deck. So it's another section on the machine, but it is still tap to get in. So it's like a backup credential.
That's really nice.
So yeah, we have virtual permits, but that's your backup.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then one more question.
Sure.
So Luke, when you are not parking cars, what do you do for fun?
Well, I have three children, all of college age, so they keep me on my toes. So we go to a lot of concerts, do small trips here or there. And I think we're actually getting ready to go to California on a trip. They're forcing me to go to Disneyland. So we do a lot of traveling, like I said, so you can catch like concerts and shows. So.
That's nice. Yeah. And then do any of them go to Penn State?
Funny question for me. So working at Penn State, the background real quick is when you work at Penn State, you get a 75% discount for your children. And my eldest son was there about a year and a half, has taken a pause. I have twin daughters who are there right now, are doing really well. But one is thinking she might want to switch schools, but the other one's going to stick it out. So yeah, they do. So all three have gone to Penn State at one point. My two daughters are currently.
I mean, it's really hard to argue with the discount.
I try to tell them that, but you know, it's each their own. It's their dreams. It's just they might owe a little bit for their dreams otherwise.
That's true. Well, it's a great school, so we'll see. We'll see. But Luke, thank you for joining us
Absolutely.
on the podcast. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks.
Gonna first just ask you who you are and where you work and what you do for where you work.
All right. So Gabe Mendez, Director of Transportation Operations at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and also on the IPMI Board of Directors.
Oh, so you've got two important jobs. Okay, and so describe your job in 100 words or less.
Herding cats.
Okay, that's 2 words.
You said
That's
100
good.
or less.
Yeah, okay.
So I manage the operation side of the house for us. So I have all of our construction, maintenance, facilities, field services. So all the non-parking.
Yeah, okay. You got the hard job because you got to literally fix things.
Yes.
That break. Okay. And how long have you been in Wisconsin now?
5 years almost.
Is it really?
Yeah. 2020.
Oh my.
Middle of COVID.
Goodness. Wow, I'm getting old and time goes fast. All right, so
I think we Remember we talked about your son trying to go to school way back in the day.
That's crazy. And now he's graduated, obviously. That's insane. Okay, so 3 questions. I won't remember all 3 of them, but let's start with, how are you personally impacting parking today?
I would say probably my participation with IPMI on the board of directors and volunteering with that. So being able to advocate for all the different segments within the industry at our board meetings and with staff, and then being able to participate in volunteer opportunities like committees and such. So
yeah, that's good. And so I came that close to making the board. Julie Dixon beat me. So what do I not know that I almost signed up for? So give us a peek behind the curtain about how much time you put in and like what's the effort look like to be on the board.
I would say first is a great staff at IPMI.
Yeah,
so they do the yeoman's work. They do everything. They make the board look good and they make IPMI look good.
Yeah.
So from a board of directors perspective, it's participating on the committees. So you get to co-chair at least one committee. And then it is giving them the input from us and our industries and then helping make decisions on where IPMI is going. So from like a organizational standpoint and then just input. So like a lot of the stuff that IPMI staff do is based off of just talking with the board, talking with all the members, and then they put everything together.
So all of the certification changes that they just made, you probably had some input on those.
We did. We voted on it. We also had different focus groups with Kathleen Federici on should we or should we not do it, and what the pros and cons, what are we not thinking about.
So the enforcement certification that they just put in place, that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, like that's a long time in the coming. I think that one, not being on the board, we've talked about that probably 5 to 10 years just as a organization, right? Like being on volunteer committees and such, like, man, that would be such a great thing to have. And so they listen. So that's awesome.
Rather than feeding somebody to the wolves or OJT, giving them a little structure, just help them see a bigger picture, I think is probably makes a ton of sense. Okay. All right. So then if you could wave your magic wand and fix anything in parking, what would you fix?
Ooh, that's a good question. If I could fix anything right now, it'd probably be snow and salt and sand. If water wasn't such a corrosive and nemesis of mine, that'd be the one thing. Like snow. If we can just get rid of snow being as bad as it is.
Yeah. What a great answer. I haven't gotten that answer. I've asked that question many times.
It caused a garage to collapse in Milwaukee a year or two ago.
Yeah. Yep. Water is amazing.
Yes.
But it's also super destructive. And I think that is like one of the biggest misconceptions or things that people don't know and don't understand about parking garages. They think, or at least I did 10 years ago, I thought, you set up a parking garage and you put a printing press in the basement and you just start printing money. I didn't think about maintenance, particularly in northern climates where ice, snow, salt, all that stuff is really
unless
hard
you're in
on
Arizona, it's not that easy. There's water to deal with or snow. So whether it's rain or snow, definitely.
That's great. Okay, and then where do you see the future? What's the future of parking?
I think AI is slowly creeping in more and more across the board. I think all of the vendors here are talking about AI in some capacity, whether it's saying it out loud or they're talking about predictive analysis or their algorithms. But I would say, I don't know, because there's a whole group of about 40 startups down at the end of the exhibit hall here who are all itching to get into the parking world, and who knows?
Yeah. So, last ad lib question. What's the hardest part of your job besides the water?
I would say people. Whether it's customers or staff, it's the people.
Yeah.
It's also the best part of the job.
Yeah.
As you move up in the industry and in your career, I think people become a bigger part of it. Because at some point you start to affect their livelihoods.
Yeah.
So, live and die by the sword. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you can fire somebody or hire somebody.
Yeah. Well, and you appreciate how important leadership is. When you see good leadership and then you see less than good leadership, it's pretty obvious.
Yes.
At least in my mind.
I agree.
All right. Well, I think that's good. That can be a wrap.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So first, go ahead, just tell us your name and who you work for and what you do at the place of your work.
Hi, I'm Marlene Cramer. I'm the Director of Transportation and Parking Services at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, California.
Now, Marlene is special because we've already done a podcast together, and she insists that she wants to get into a little more depth this time. So one of the questions that we're asking all of our guests is, how are you personally impacting the future of parking?
I think the future, how I would like to impact parking is to make sure that those of us in the industry are aware of all the tools out there, especially like business analytic tools.
Yeah.
AI is really changing what's going to be at our fingertips. I think we're just scratching the surface right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for that because back to my favorite saying, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
We're gonna have that at our fingertips and be able to work more effectively with the resources we have. We still need those people.
Yeah, no doubt.
We still need our staff. We have a lot of technology, new stuff's coming out.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we need to be in looking at being futurists, trying to look at the future and figure out what we can use because most of us, we have very complex systems.
Yes.
They're not going to get easier.
Right.
They're going to get more complex. And really trying to figure out how to deploy what we have in the best. For example, on our university, it's growing. Our parking resources are shrinking. So we're going to have to be a lot sharper in terms of how we look at our resources, how we use them, who gets to use them, how we allocate them, because the growth is not going away. And in these volatile and certain times, we have to plan to build that foundation so we could go into the future.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so do you have a specific project going on right now that's interesting to you?
We are right now. We're in the beginning phases of rolling out, and this is not new technology, but we're rolling out cameras throughout campus.
Yep.
And being able to better monitor our occupancy and just be able to have more information about our user.
Yeah, because it sounds like as the campus grows and the resources shrink, you're going to have to be more clever about who gets to park where. Is that fair?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're going to have to, unfortunately, you'll probably give some people fewer choices.
Exactly.
And some people maybe more choices or a different choice, and they're going to have to be happy with that.
Exactly. And there, it's part of a bigger ecosystem with a sustainable transportation.
Yeah.
And bringing that information in more effectively.
Yeah.
And that's something else that we're trying to do and use that information and better understand the needs of our customer.
Yeah, so I should know this. Is there a mobility piece in your title?
Yeah, well, it's transportation and parking services.
Okay,
Yeah, so
all right.
all the mobility
Is all you as well?
Yes, so
Okay.
we offer over a dozen transit demand management programs on campus.
Yeah, and so I would imagine sort of buffering the blow is giving students or whomever is going to use the transportation visibility to, is the bus close or is the bus far?
Exactly.
Yeah, because Uber sort of changed the paradigm where I call a cab and I have no idea where the cab is, but Uber I can see where they are. I would imagine the same dynamic exists for anyone riding the bus. If they have some certainty that the bus is coming in a relatively short amount of time, they could they would have confidence that they're going to get where they're going on time.
Exactly. We have apps for our city transit and our campus shuttles, so the students can know exactly where those buses and shuttles are at.
Yeah.
It's just getting them around campus. We have a limited road structure, so it's hard to get around, but it's having more information and make that determination of what shuttle I'm going to go on. This year, we're working on a project to launch some additional daytime shuttles, which will be really nice. We're on 6,000 acres.
Yeah.
So we have a big campus.
It's a lot.
Very agricultural campus. And so we've been really trying to figure out how to get students, staff, and faculty around campus just more effectively without their vehicles.
Yeah. It's harder than it looks.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you had a crack at this question on the original podcast. So you can, I'm being honest, I don't remember what you said. So nobody will know. But if you had a magic wand and you could wave a magic wand and fix anything in parking or on your campus, what would it be?
I think it would be making sure that when people, our school is very impacted. We had 82,000 applicants last year for about 4,000 freshman spaces. However, as a campus, we don't do a good job setting the expectation of parking is a very, limited commodity on campus.
Yep.
So if I could wave a magic wand, I think I would do a lot more just marketing to incoming students to say, hi, this is a great school, but you got to leave your car at home. Now we do that for freshmen, but also just making sure that people are willing to try other modes as well.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Wave your magic wand and people would instantly be accepting of other modes besides their personal vehicle.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. All right. So you just told me that on the last podcast, you felt like you wanted to talk more about stuff. Are there one or two other things that you'd like to talk about while you've got the mic?
Well, it's interesting. Our campus, we're merging with another campus that's about 4 hours away in the San Francisco area. And they're about 25 years behind.
Oh, no.
So it's actually exciting.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get to rebuild a program going forward. So that's a big project, and it's really difficult just because of the distance from our campus. But it's a way to have a clean slate and build something.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. It's going to be a lot of work, but really exciting. And I'm actually considering maybe different technology and some other things that I wanted to try to test.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that.
That is exciting. You have an opportunity to take the knowledge that you've gained over your 25 years of experience.
Exactly.
And apply it to a blank canvas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
All right.
A little scary, but a lot of fun.
I think if you make incremental progress, they'll appreciate the incremental progress.
Slow progress is still progress.
Exactly right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me again.
Thanks, Brian. It was great talking to you.
Always a pleasure. That's a wrap on this episode of Harder Than It Looks, Parking Uncovered, presented by Parker Technology. Please leave us a review if you liked what you heard. Make sure you tune in next month as we continue to uncover tips, tricks, and best practices to manage what we all know is harder than it looks, parking a car. Bye for now.